Right, morning all. This is a quick video before the rain comes in. So I just met an old student in the bar, and I remember we had a few lessons on lifting because he was lifting, there's no doubt. And this is interesting. I meet people months later and I say, yeah, how's it going? And then they say, ah yes, it was because of this. And I think, that's interesting. And then the partner, I would say, is then saying, yeah, it was this. And I think, okay, interesting. So I've had this before, obviously. Now, there's no blame on what people are thinking, but it's just an issue that I find interesting because what they're saying the problem is, which, you know, people say, oh yeah, I worked out that my problem is because I'm not turning. I'm not turning. This is my problem. And I wrote this in my book, around about page 147. And it dawned on me about 20 years ago that all these body movements that people are saying they can't do, like for instance, turning or getting forwards, are all resulting from the same thing. They're all coming from the brain trying to lift. So if we say, for instance, I'm playing field hockey, I go along to the ball and I smash the back of the ball, of course I'm going to go forwards. Why wouldn't I? I'm not going to go with a hockey stick, go to my ball and then fall backwards. The only reason I would fall backwards is if I'm trying to lift the hockey ball up. So my brain knows it has to hit the back of the ball and I naturally go forwards. The problem with the golfer is that they don't go forwards, they go backwards, and then they're told you need to go forwards. But how can you go forwards if your brain is instinctively lifting? So you're trying to go forwards, but you can't because your brain, every time it sees the ball, lifts the club up, and so you fall backwards. So they're dealing with what they see objectively. They see you're falling backwards, we have to go forwards. But that's not the problem. The problem is your brain, your instinct. And this is what I find over the last 20 years of teaching this that isn't understood. It's the people are looking for the objective movement and they're not realizing that it's their brain that is causing the problem. So what I wrote in my book is I actually discovered that all of the mistakes are coming from lifting. People standing there like this and they say, oh, they said I've got a chicken wing. My arms do this, it's a chicken wing. So I've got to keep my arms straight. Well, where's the chicken wing coming from? Well, it's coming from lifting. When they get to the ball, they lift the club up and it causes the arm to break down. So instead of talking about the source of the problem, which is lifting, they're told, we'll keep the arm straight. So now we got the arm straight, well, the brain will now lift like this. So it lifts with a straight arm, like this. That's what it does. No, I know that because I've seen it for 20 years. So and that's what my book is about. My book is about the problem that we're looking at it objectively. We're looking at what we see. We're not thinking about what the brain is doing. That's all. If your brain learns to compress the ball, so we actually learn, we've got all the drills, we learn to compress the ball, then my arm won't have a chicken wing and I'll go forwards. So what the man said was, I'm not turning. I know he's probably met someone or been somewhere, and this has happened thousands of times in my life, where because they don't see objectively, because of the lift, they're not turning, they get told, you need to turn. So then it's turn, I need to turn, I need to turn. But if I'm turning, does that stop me lifting? And the answer is no. You will do your turning and think, oh, it's a little bit better, but it won't. You'll still be lifting. And then there comes the day where you top, fat, and you think, oh, what's going on now? And then you'll be on for the next tip, trick. So another one that we always talk about is the out to in. So I might as well just talk about everything now before the rain comes. Out to in, everybody talks about. Oh, I go over the top, out to in. I do this, out to in, out to in. I have to go into out, into out. But again, why would the brain, for 99% of golfers on the planet, 66 million, why would it go out to in? For everybody. And that dawned on me 20 years ago. And I thought, yes, of course, because when a golfer starts playing, he's always lifting. They're always lifting away. The ball goes to the right. It keeps popping off to the right, pops off to the right, pops off to the right. So the brain, being incredibly intelligent and trying to compensate the problem, it starts to get the club and take the club from over here and bring it around here so that we can lift, but stay on line. So we go out to in while lifting. Okay? So it's the brain has worked that out. It's instinctively worked that out. Which is the reason for the slice. So it says, I slice. Well, yes, you slice because as you lift, you bring your club, you do this, and the ball is now slicing. Now, what's interesting is that all magazines and all DVDs, billions of dollars have been made on talking about how to stop the slice. It never says on the magazine, cure your hook, because not many people hook. 99% of people slice. They complain, they slice, and they hit it to the right. That's coming from lifting. The source is lifting. If I was to train myself to compress the ball, which is what we do in DylanGolf, my brain wouldn't come from the out to in, because it wouldn't make sense. My club has to come into the back of the ball, push onto the back of the ball, and so we have our perfect, what they say, into out, but it's actually a circle. It's basically into square to in, but it's your club that you're using correctly, that as you compress the ball, and this is what happens with my students, once they learn to compress the ball, they go, oh wow, I hit it straight, and they hit it with draw. So again, the problem is dealing with it objectively and not from the source, which is the brain. So people are taught into out. I have a friend, he talks about it all the time. Yeah, I teach them into out. But I'm thinking the brain can't go into out if it's lifting, because now it's coming in with a very wide open face. It tries to lift the ball and the ball's going straight right. So no lifter could possibly come from into out. It wouldn't make sense. They just hit it in the bushes into the fields all day. So instinctively, they would never go into out. So as much as they want to go into out, it will never happen, because the instinct will not allow you just to hit the ball into the bush on the right. So there's the answer. That's probably worth $500 million. So there you go. So you got your out to win. And then you've got this other one, the casting. People always say, oh, casting. They say I cast. And I'm thinking, yeah, well, casting is again the same thing. It's lifting. Your brain gets to the top. At this moment, it starts to move this way because it's already trying to get the club to go under the ball and then lift the ball up. That's what it's trying to do. Which is why you fall backwards and have a chicken wing. We can quickly talk about the head up. Head up. Oh, I've got to keep my head down. I've got to keep my head down. I'm thinking, yeah, but your head's going to go up because as you get to the ball, you lift the ball, so your head's going to go up. Of course it's going to go up. You are going to go up. So people are again told, objectively, stay down. So you have to stay down. Keep your posture. Stay down. Keep the head down. But the only reason the body goes up is because your brain is trying to lift the ball up. So if we were taught to actually compress the ball, push onto the ball, and get around here, the brain wouldn't ever go up. There's no sense to go up. Your brain would say, well, I have to push down, so now I go down, I stay down. So it's changing the source of the problem, which is the brain lifting, which then creates all the objective movements that we're looking for. And what's interesting is, like I said, in the field hockey, you would never have to think about it. You just do it. In the ice hockey, you go along on the ice and you just do it. You don't have to think about it. If you look at the hurling, I was in an Irish pub the other day. Hurling was on the TV, and I'm watching the hurling. If anybody doesn't know, go to Google, check out hurling. It's a 3,000-year-old game, Irish. You see them with these bats. They're literally throwing the balls up and hitting the balls, baff, in midair. And the movements are correct. They're not falling backwards or standing up or doing anything that's unusual. And they're also not thinking, oh, I must do this with my body now, and I must rotate, and I must go forwards to hit the ball. They're running around. You also see the ball on the floor sometimes, which I have in slow motion, and you see them, the ball is on the floor, and as they go to the ball, they have a perfect golf motion. It's identical. There is no difference. They come in and they smash the ball forwards, and then they run forwards. So again, we can see from hurling that the instinct that they're using naturally is correct. So therefore they don't have any strange body motions that they have to correct. It's only golf. Golf is the only game on the planet. When you look at this ball on the floor, your brain will say that ball has to go up, it has to go up 150 meters, and therefore your body, due to your brain, will do all those things that you're not supposed to do. So when someone says, oh, it was because I wasn't turning, turning is not going to cure the problem. Working on the instinct to lift is going to cure the problem. And working on the instinct to lift isn't easy. It's a process. It takes time. You have to train. You have to train against your brain that wants to lift. You can't talk to it. It's not a. It doesn't matter if I demonstrate or talk about it. You can watch this video. You won't go out there and not lift. It is a process. You have to go through it. You have to work with it. You have to go onto the golf course. You have to try it and keep doing it. And as you keep doing it, and I have many students that have got through it and can do it, which is proof. And all their body movements are exactly what they should be. So there you go. I just thought I would get that off my chest after a little meeting this morning. And I'll see you soon.